The object was moving at nearly 3 times the speed of our fastest underwater technology. The tracking system's confirmation of these speeds eliminates many potential explanations. Natural phenomena don't move with such precision or maintain such velocities underwater. Camera or sensor glitches typically don't generate consistent tracking data across multiple systems. The corroboration between what workers visually observed and what the sensors recorded creates a much stronger case than either would provide independently. Multiple witnesses observed the event simultaneously, providing consistent accounts of what transpired. This group observation significantly reduces the likelihood of perceptual errors or individual misinterpretation. When different people from various technical backgrounds and perspectives all report the same anomalous features, the credibility of the observation increases substantially. Similarly, multiple sensors recorded the event, not just a single camera or radar system. This sensor redundancy is crucial for ruling out equipment malfunction. Different types of sensors operating on different principles all detected the same object, creating a comprehensive data set that would be nearly impossible to attribute to coincidental technical failures across multiple systems. Perhaps most baffling about the oil rig case is the object's perfect control despite its extraordinary speed. At 550 knots underwater, any conventional craft would experience enormous forces that would compromise structural integrity and maneuverability. Water creates exponentially greater resistance than air, making high-speed control underwater vastly more difficult than similar maneuvers in the atmosphere. Yet the object demonstrated precision movement that defied these physical limitations. The duration of the encounter also separates it from many other USO reports. Rather than a brief sighting lasting seconds, this event persisted long enough for thorough documentation. The extended observation period allowed workers to alert colleagues, verify what they were seeing through multiple means, and capture substantial footage before the object departed. This wasn't a momentary anomaly but a sustained presence in the vicinity of the platform. The disappearance of the object proved as mysterious as its appearance. According to accounts, it didn't gradually accelerate away or surface like a conventional submarine might. Instead, it simply vanished from the area, either through extraordinary speed or some other means that the tracking systems couldn't follow. This sudden departure adds another layer of technological mystery to the already inexplicable capabilities displayed. What happened to this compelling evidence? According to Elizondo, the footage and sensor data were classified at extremely high levels. This classification wasn't routine security protocol but reflected the extraordinary nature of what had been captured. The material was restricted to those with appropriate security clearances, individuals with a specialized technical background to analyze the capabilities displayed and assess potential implications. What's particularly notable is that while several naval UFO videos, the famous Nimitz, Go Fast, and Gimbal encounters, were eventually declassified and released to the public in 2020, the underwater cases like the oil rig encounter remain at much higher classification levels. This disparity suggests that the underwater dimension of these phenomena may contain even more sensitive information than their aerial counterparts. The heightened classification suggests the material contains information with significant national security implications, capabilities that potentially challenge military technological superiority. Some whistleblower accounts allege deeper programs within the intelligence community dedicated to studying these underwater phenomena, with access restricted even beyond typical special access programs. Navy sonar operators have reported tracking unidentified underwater objects moving at impossible speeds, but these records remain heavily redacted when released through Freedom of Information Act requests. One notable example involved a redacted Navy sonar image showing an object accelerating from stationary to several hundred knots in seconds, a capability no known submarine possesses. The oil rig case represents one of the most technically validated USO encounters precisely because it combines multiple evidence types: visual observation by trained personnel, sophisticated sensor recordings, tracking data confirming extraordinary performance metrics, extended duration allowing thorough documentation, and multiple witness corroboration. Each of these elements strengthens the case and eliminates potential conventional explanations. The combination of visual evidence and sensor data makes this case nearly impossible to explain through conventional means. Natural phenomena don't travel at 550 knots underwater with perfect directional control. Human technology remains centuries away from such capabilities. Equipment malfunctions don't create consistent readings across multiple independent systems. The process of elimination leaves few satisfying explanations within our current technological paradigm. This incident exemplifies why the underwater dimension of the UAP phenomenon demands serious scientific attention. The oil rig case doesn't just suggest unknown technology. It documents capabilities that fundamental physics suggests should be impossible. The gap between what was observed and what current science can explain represents not just an incremental advance but a potential paradigm shift in our understanding of what's physically possible. If we wanted to build a craft capable of moving through water at 550 knots, what would that actually require? The engineering challenges appear insurmountable with our current understanding of physics and materials science. The technological implications. To create a craft capable of moving at such speeds underwater would require technological breakthroughs across multiple scientific domains simultaneously. The engineering challenges aren't just difficult. They represent fundamental barriers in our understanding of physics and materials science. The technological implications of UFOs moving at 450 to 550 knots underwater are staggering. Water's density, approximately 800 times greater than air, transforms every aspect of vehicle design. As an object moves through water, it must constantly displace this dense medium, creating resistance that increases exponentially with speed. Double your speed underwater, and you quadruple the resistance. At 550 knots, this resistance becomes astronomical. Our fastest underwater technology, the Russian Virginia 111 SHK valve torpedo, reaches around 200 knots using supercavitation. This technique creates a large gas bubble around the torpedo, allowing it to move through this gas rather than directly through water. Even with this innovative approach, the torpedo requires enormous energy, offers minimal steering capability, and can only maintain this speed for very short distances. Yet the objects reported by Elizondo travel nearly 3 times faster without apparent supercavitation bubbles. The materials challenge alone seems impossible to overcome. At such extreme speeds underwater, any conventional material would experience molecular degradation due to water pressure and friction. Water doesn't compress like air, meaning the forces acting on the hull of such a craft would be extreme. These forces wouldn't just stress the material, they would tear apart its molecular bonds. Even our strongest materials like titanium alloys, carbon fiber composites, or advanced ceramics would fail under these conditions. The materials would need to withstand not just the enormous pressure but also the heating that occurs from friction at these speeds. Water transfers heat more efficiently than air, creating thermal stresses that would compromise structural integrity. The energy requirements present another seemingly impossible hurdle. The power needed to overcome water resistance at 550 knots exceeds anything we can currently generate in a mobile platform. Our nuclear submarines, with their large reactors, struggle to reach 40 knots. The exponential relationship between speed and power means that moving at 550 knots would require energy generation orders of magnitude greater than our current capabilities. For comparison, the power required to move a submarine-sized object at 550 knots underwater would likely exceed the output of multiple nuclear power plants. Creating a power source compact enough to fit within a mobile platform yet powerful enough to generate this energy represents a technological leap we cannot currently envision. The control systems for such a craft present equally baffling challenges. At 550 knots underwater, the forces acting on any control surfaces would be enormous. Conventional steering mechanisms would fail catastrophically. The pressures involved would make traditional rudders or dive planes ineffective or destructive. The engineering solutions needed to maintain directional control at these speeds underwater would require entirely new approaches to hydrodynamics. The acceleration forces experienced during maneuvers at such speeds would create G-forces lethal to any human occupants. A tight turn at 550 knots underwater would generate acceleration forces that would instantly kill humans inside. Even our most advanced fighter pilots, wearing specialized G-suits, can only withstand around 9G for brief periods. The turns reportedly executed by these underwater objects would generate forces far exceeding this threshold. The engineering consensus on creating craft with these capabilities is sobering. Most experts estimate we're decades or even centuries away from approaching the technology needed for 450 to 550 knot underwater travel with precise control. The gap isn't just a matter of incremental improvements to existing systems. It would require multiple revolutionary breakthroughs across different scientific domains. These technological implications force us to consider uncomfortable possibilities. Either some nation has made multiple simultaneous breakthroughs in propulsion theory, materials science, energy generation, and control systems, all while maintaining perfect secrecy, or we're observing technology with origins beyond conventional human development. The propulsion system required would need to operate on principles fundamentally different from conventional hydrodynamics. Rather than pushing against water, it might need to manipulate the properties of water itself, perhaps reducing local density or altering the medium's physical properties. No current propulsion theory achieves this, suggesting principles not yet discovered or mastered by mainstream science. The materials would need properties beyond anything in our current engineering toolkit. They would require molecular structures that resist the enormous pressures and temperatures while maintaining perfect structural integrity. The combination of strength, heat resistance, and durability required exceeds anything in our materials science literature. Energy generation would need a revolution beyond current physics. The power density required for such propulsion exceeds our most advanced theoretical systems. Even theoretical fusion reactors wouldn't provide the necessary power-to-weight ratio. The energy source would need efficiency orders of magnitude beyond our current capabilities. The control systems would require computational power and response times far exceeding current technology. The split-second adjustments needed to maintain stability at these speeds underwater would outpace even our fastest supercomputers. The entire control paradigm would need to operate on principles different from conventional vehicle dynamics. When analysts examine the full spectrum of technologies required to create craft matching the reported capabilities, the conclusion becomes unavoidable. These objects demonstrate technology operating beyond the cutting edge of human scientific understanding. The gap between these capabilities and our most advanced systems isn't just wide, it's fundamental.